Anaheim, Kirk Gibson and the Detroit Tigers battle the California Angels. The Angels, with a veteran lineup led by Reggie Jackson, are on top of the American League West by 2.5 games. Or from historic Fenway Park in Boston, the Minnesota Twins take on Jim Rice, the American League's leading hitter Wade Boggs, and the Boston Red Sox. But up first, NBC Sports presents Major League Baseball, an inside look at baseball and a preview of today's game of the week. Brought to you by Light Beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by the Polaroid Corporation, innovation in photographic and video products.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill McAtee in our NBC Sports studios in New York as we prepare to leave the dog days of August and get set for the stretch run in baseball. There are some pretty good divisional races right now, the tightest, of course, in the National League East between the Mets and the Cardinals. But most of you today will see California against Detroit. The Angels increased their lead in the West last night to 2.5 games. The Angels scored 5 runs in the ninth to beat the Tigers.
California took advantage of Tiger mistakes with 2 out in the ninth as Gary Pettis singled up the middle, driving home Bob Boone, and then an error on a lapse in concentration by Kirk Gibson allowed Dick Schofield to score, tying the game at 6. Then with Pettis at third, Brian Downing shot down the line, is handled nicely by Tom Brookins, but the throw to first is low, and in a game that seemed to personify the Tigers season, California wins 5 runs in the ninth, 7-6. Meanwhile, in Chicago, the Blue Jays swept the White Sox. In the nightcap, George Bell became only the 7th player in the long history of Comiskey Park to reach the center field bleachers, and the Blue Jays increased their lead in the East to 4 games, 6-3, 10-3, Toronto. In Atlanta, Joaquin Andujar became the first 20-game winner in the majors this year as St. Louis beat the Braves. Andy Van Slyke provided the key hit in a 4-run third inning with his 2-run home run, the 10th home run of the year for Andy. And the Cardinals, who also set a team base-stealing record with 221 this season, win 6-2. And that win was significant because here in New York, Steve Garvey homered in both games of a doubleheader against the Mets. The Padres took advantage of the Mets' inability to score, sweeping the doubleheader. For Garvey, home runs number 15 and 16. The Mets only able to score 1 run in the 2 games. The Padres, meanwhile, have won 5 in a row. 6-1, 3-0, the final.
So here now are the standings in the National League East. The Cardinals make up 1.5 games on the Mets last night and move 1 game up. And the other story in the East this week has been Montreal. The Expos had moved themselves back into the race, only 4.5 games behind, but now have lost 5 straight. They trail by 7.5. And we'll be back to New York to talk about the possibilities of a subway and a freeway series right after this. All right, as we get set for baseball, in New York, there is mounting discussion about the possibility of a Subway World Series between the Yankees and the Mets. In Southern California, of course, the mode of transportation is different, so it's a freeway series they're excited about. Here's Lynn Berman.
Ah, the Subway Series. There hasn't been one since 1956. But now with the Yankees and Mets contending, New Yorkers are getting their subway tokens ready. Except for one small problem. A freeway series around Los Angeles may be even more likely.
There never has been a Freeway World Series. That's because despite the fact that Dodgers have been in several World Series, the Angels have never won the pennant. How do you get to Anaheim around here anyway?
Thank you for asking. You take the Golden State Freeway to the Pomona Freeway to the San Diego Freeway until you come to the Slauson cutoff. Get out of your car, cut off your Slauson, get back in the car. Then, friends, that's right.
Actually, the Dodgers drive their way to Anaheim and vice versa every year, and they call it the Freeway Series, exhibition games just before the regular season. But they take these games seriously. This year, for example, Bobby Grich fell on Steve Sax's ankle. Sax was out for a month.
We play them tough. You know, a Freeway Series is a series where we start getting up for the season and we get wired up, and we've got 60,000 people here in the stands for those games, so you're not going to just go through the motions in front of 60,000 people.
But as surprising as the Dodgers' success is this year, the Angels may be even more perplexing. They do not have a single starting pitcher with an earned run average under 3. And no batter is hitting over 300. And manager Gene Mauch has a different lineup every day.
I know if I got a couple of them mad at me every day, Len, I'm in good shape because I'd rather have them really wanting to play than being too tired to play.
The one single difference than what we've had in the past years has been the bullpen. They're just doing a super job.
Donnie Moore. He's been the key man out of the bullpen. In past years, Angels players would pray when somebody walked out of the pen. But this year, their prayers have been answered by this newcomer. As for the old line big names, well, it's been a year of milestones. Reggie hit number 522. That moved him to number 8 all-time. And Rod Carew, the finest hitter of our time, he got number 3,000. But one milestone has always eluded Carew, as well as owner Gene Autry and Gene Moss. A trip to the World Series.
Tell me it wouldn't be awfully sweet, though.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. It's what I've dreamed about all my life. But my number one priority, just be damn sure, Gene, you do a good job.
I'm hoping that this will be the year that we can win the Western Division and then win the American League pennant and then have a freeway series.
So, once again, how do you get to a freeway
How do
series?
you get there? It's easy. You take the Hollywood Freeway to the Harbor Freeway to the Long Beach Freeway till you come to the fork in the road. That's right.
Len Berman, tasting a freeway series around Los Angeles.
All right, Lynn, thank you. Some of you today will see the Twins and the Red Sox. There was a bit of controversy in Boston this week, a shoving match between pitcher Dennis Oil Can Boyd and Jim Rice. Oil Can missed the following game Thursday night. He returned last night, apologizing and accepting a $1,500 fine. That leads off our news of the week, followed by a home run by Juan Beniquez of California that in the record book should get an assist from Dwayne Murphy.
In spite of his efforts, the ball bounces off Murphy's glove and over the wall. Beniquez has his 6th home run of the year. Monday, Ken Griffey did hang on, and it was one of the spectacular plays of the year, coming down with Marty Barrett's apparent home run ball in the ninth to save the game from extra innings. Another Yankee, Don Mattingly, Tuesday became the first player this year to reach 100 RBI. And a close call for Willie Wilson of the Royals, hit in the back of the head on a steal attempt. Willie spent the night in the hospital with a spinal cord strain, but is now back. And the Cubs lost yet another pitcher, rookie Dave Gumbert, out with a pulled groin, while Dwight Gooden continued his assault on hitters. Tuesday, Dr. K struck out 16 against the Giants. He becomes only the 2nd player in history, joining Herb Score with 200 strikeouts in each of his first 2 Major League seasons. And with 1 out, Brett Butler of the Indians thought the inning was over, making the catch and flipping the ball to the umpire. But Brett seemed to cover up his mistake quite well.
When we come back, a look at one of baseball's most cherished traditions, the foul ball. What we'll do to get one. We'll return to New York right after these messages. Thanks, Dick. One of the great traditions in baseball is the foul ball. Kids going to the park with a glove, dreaming of going home with a souvenir. Some of those kids might even be 50 years old. Didn't used to always be that way. Here's Len Berman, the history of the foul ball.
An official Major League ball. You go to your local sporting goods store, you could have one for about $6. You go to your local ballpark, and some fans will do just about anything to get one.
Fans will do just about anything to get a ball. But at Wrigley Field, when the visiting team hits a home run, fans in the bleachers will throw the ball back.
Of course, years ago, everybody threw the baseball back. You had to. The ushers came and took it from you. Until Reuben Berman came along.
The Polo Grounds, May 16th, 1921. The Giants hosted the Reds. The Giants won at 7-4, but the hero of the day turned out to be a fan, Reuben Berman. He caught a foul ball and refused to give it back, so the Giants refunded his money and threw him out. He then sued the Giants for $20,000. The judge ruled that Reuben did not act disorderly and ungentlemanly and awarded him $100.
After the Reuben Berman incident, the evidence seems to indicate that the Giants changed their policy, possibly for public relations reasons, possibly because it was becoming increasingly more difficult to get the fans to cooperate with that custom. And so, beginning about the middle of the 1920s, the Giants and all other major league clubs gradually switched to a policy that allowed fans to keep any baseball hit into the stands. And that became known as Reuben's Rule.
Rubin passed away in 1976, but his nephew in Los Angeles with the honest-to-goodness name of Len Berman would like the Hall of Fame to recognize his uncle in some way.
The point he always made, and he told this story to the family many times, he was interested in having the fans retain the baseball. I think it's the only sport in America where the fans can actually go away from watching a ball game with a souvenir of the game that was in the ball game.
And you'd like the Hall of Fame to have some kind of an exhibit? Or?
Well, it would be nice if the Hall of Fame acknowledged this, and I think they are about to do so.
It does seem apparent that he contributed to a change of direction on the part of the Giants, and perhaps other incidents as well played a role in that. But Rubin's rule, I think, is now firmly established in American baseball history, and probably every boy that ever went to the park with a glove owes Reuben Berman a debt of gratitude.
Welch out of his stretch, and the strike 2 pitch is hit foul off first base, out of play.
Uncle Reuben didn't just help little boys, he aided those without gloves, some who need help. Describe the play, will you?
Fly ball came up here, and I jumped out of my seat, knocked my hot dog down, and grabbed it, fought with his glove, hit my finger, and bounced in this girl's lap.
In your lap?
Yeah. It just kind of landed here. I couldn't do anything about it. I just grabbed onto it.
But not every foul ball lands in somebody's lap.
The pitch is fisted foul this time, and a fine catch up there.
The fine catch was turned in by actor Ed Nelson.
We had one and come up about 6 weeks ago, and zap, it came up. I said, honey, this is it. I reached up, I said, I better try and catch it, and I did.
So the next time somebody catches a foul ball and keeps it, he has
Reuben Berman to thank.
Thank you, Uncle Reuben.
Uncle Reuben, thank you. Thank you.
This is Len, no relation to Reuben Berman in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Lenny. Lenny, a busy man this week. Coming up, some of you will go to Anaheim for the Angels and Tigers. The rest of you in Boston for the Twins and the Red Sox. Baseball's coming up next. Stay with us.
First home run in the big leagues way back in 1967. And along the way, he stood the baseball world on its ear. 3 home runs in 1 World Series game in 1977. Naturally, there were low spots along the way, and even then, he was the center of attention. But along his glorious career, 523 home runs. That puts him 8th in the annals of Major League history in hitting home runs. Reginald Martinez Jackson. He's ready today and still going strong. And strong he had better be against the winningest pitcher of the 80s, Jack Morris of the Detroit Tigers.
Presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today from Anaheim Stadium, it's the Detroit Tigers versus the California Angels. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Ford, who invites you to drive the new Ford Escort. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Light Beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less. By Mutual of Omaha, people you can count on. And by Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
From Anaheim Stadium in Anaheim, California, it's the defending world champion Detroit Tigers with no-hit Jack Morris against the division-leading California Angels and young Kirk McCaskill. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola, and I guess there are two surprises, Joe. The fallback of the champion Tigers and the stick-to-itiveness of this club, the California Angels.
Well, first, the Tigers, it was just not the Tigers that we came to know last night's ball game. They're leading by 6, and they end up losing the ball game with 5 runs in the 9th, so it's been a tough year for them.
And, of course, for the Angels, a lot of people thought, same old story for California. They got a lot of veteran ball players. They will buckle and finally come apart at the seams at the end of August, but instead, they are hurting, but they're in first place.
Well, the operative word was veteran players, which you just said, as long as they're in first place. As soon as they start to slip a little bit, they're going to be old players. But even with the injuries, the older fellas seem to know, hey, we have to do it. We're going to stay in the lineup. Guys like Downing, Boone are going to play even though they're hurt.
So we're going to take a look at those starting lineups. We'll have a lot more, all coming up right after this. Starting lineup at second base, Lou Whitaker. The shortstop, Alan Trammell. In right field, Kirk Gibson. And behind the plate, Lance Parrish. Darrell Evans will be at first base. Nelson Simmons is the DH. Larry Herndon will be in left field. Chet Lemon in center field. And Tom Brookins at third base.
Here's the defense. Downing is in left field. He's hurting. He's got a bad ankle, his back spasms. He had so many injuries that Gene Mock said if any bones are not showing, then he's going to play. So he's hurting. Pettis, 2 tremendous catches again last night. You'll see some great plays. Jones is in right field. Howell at third base, the sensei with the bad back. Schofield and Gritch around second base. Caruso, the first baseman. Bob Boone hurting behind the plate, a groin pull. And McCaskill is the pitcher. He's got about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. He cuts it as you just see him give the sign. He'll throw that to the right-hand hitters and turn it over a little bit to the left-hand hitters. He'll be around the plate.
As you can see, he's a 9-7 record. No record, however, against the Tigers this year. He did make 2 starts, pitched very well in each game. The Angels won both of them. He even had a 7-inning no-hitter that was broken up by a home run by Kirk Gibson. He is particularly effective here in Anaheim. He's won 4 straight at home. And in August, he is undefeated 3-0. So the Tigers figure to have their hands full with Kirk McCaskill, a 24-year-old out of Burlington, Vermont. Lou Whitaker, a great leadoff man with rather surprising power now. Whitaker's been around, but look at that, 18 home runs.
He jumps on that first ball. They've been starting him with the curveball.
Well, we'll watch McCaskill. Fastball high, and we're underway. Rocky Rowe behind the plate. John Hirschbeck at first, Dale Ford at second, and Larry Barnett, the umpire, at third. 1 ball and no strike. Fouled away. The coaches, Veda Pinson, coaching at first for Sparky, and Alex Gramis is over at third. For the Tigers, they're in a state of shock. They're on a road trip. They've lost 3 out of 5. This is their 8th game with the Angels, and they've lost 5 of 7, and they just hate the 9th inning. Off speed, missed. 2-1. McCaskill has now been throwing a split-fingered changeup. Didn't throw it as hard as Jack Morris. Whitaker with the count his way, 3-1. A year ago on this date, the Tigers were in first place, 11 games in front. Here they are today, 10.5 back. You talk about a swing. On the corner, 3-2. Some of the Tigers, as you see Gene Mauch down on the Angel dugout, some of the Tigers are actually having a better year this year than last, even though the ball club isn't playing as well. Evans and Whitaker are certainly 2 of them. Gibson and Parrish are about the same, and the big drop-offs have been Alan Trammell and Chet Lemon. High drive into deep right field. Back goes Jones, way back. It's gone. 19th home run for Lou Whitaker, and he did get it all.
3-2 fastball. That's why managers always like to see the pitcher do it on 2-2. Put extra stuff on the 2-2 pitch, because you take that hitter deep 3-2, many feel the momentum swings towards the hitter. It certainly did that time at bat, and Whitaker has given the Tigers a 1-0 lead.
You know, 3 years ago, Whitaker had 15 home runs. That was his high, but here he is still in August on the 24th, and he has 19 home runs. And here's Alan Trammell.
There's the Whitaker swing. He knows that he touched one off. He's watching it.
Whitaker's only 160 pounds. So the Tigers are out in front, 1-0, 2 balls and no strikes to Alan Trammell. Of course, Detroit, with Marcel Latchman going out to the mound, the Tigers are still trying to get over blowing that game last night.
There was a recitation that Sparky gave about the last 15 games. He said that's 5 of them that we've lost just like that. And I must say this about Spark. He said, look, you don't tell me that Toronto or the Yankees or the Red Sox are beating us. All we have to do is look in the mirror. And then we're beating ourselves 5 times in the last 15 games that's happened to him.
He didn't have to be reminded about it, but last year in the regular season, in the playoffs, and in the World Series, his record when leading in the 9th inning, 101-0. They never lost a game in the 9th inning last year. Fouled away. 2-1.
And you look at Hernandez's numbers, they're really not bad. But last year he was so outstanding by comparison, they look bad.
Well, one of the things about Hernandez, he could very well wind up with more saves than last year. Ground ball to the hole, backhanded by Schofield. Off balance, got him. What a play.
Well, that's why they got him in the lineup, and that's why everybody says don't worry about his hitting. He's going to hit because he has this kind of a glove. That's a major league play. Watch how many steps. 1, 2, and he's throwing off balance, running away from the base he has to throw to, and very accurately gets it to Carew in plenty of time. That is a classic, going into the hole, making the play.
Well, we'll see now. That gives McCaskill a little bit of a lift after he was rocked by Whitaker. And with 1 out, the batter will be Kirk Gibson. Gibson, 23 home runs, and the big guy on the club with 74 runs batted in. No particular drop-off at all for him. And, of course, for Gibson playing out his option year, this is an important season for him. 2-0.
He comes out of the clubhouse with his game face on. I mean, he's growling and moaning and groaning. He gets in that batting cage, takes his swings. He had one little bad session in there. He picked up the ball and fungoed it into the seats.
He'll certainly be the top player in the free agent market, and McCaskill is shelled for a line drive base hit to right field. So Kirk McCaskill, who's been pitching so well, has been racked here in the first inning, although he's only given up 1 run. And the batter is Lance Parrish. Lance Parrish, with 20 home runs, 77 runs batted in for the year. Here in the inning, Whitaker a home run. Trammell losing a hit on a great play by Dick Schofield. And now Gibson a single to right. Gibson, with all of his other abilities, has stolen 24 bases, so you know he runs well. Strike. 0-1. Held on by Rod Carew. 1-0 Tigers. First inning. You know, when you think about the major sports in this country, you take baseball, basketball, and football. And one rather remarkable point to show you the difference between the good and the bad, or the bad and the beautiful. Off speed and hammered to left. That goes Downing, gone. A high changeup, and it's hit out by Parrish. 3-0 Detroit.
The one pitch the youngster has to have is his fastball. He's walking around the mound now, pretty much talking to himself, because that lollipop he just threw to Parrish, Parrish did exactly what he's supposed to do with it, tear out a row of seats. You couldn't pick up a phone and order a better pitch. The power hitters all like that high fastball. This is almost like a high change. Look at that. He couldn't wait for it to get to home plate. And McCaskill knew it the minute he threw it. Look at him. Youngster knew it, and he paid the price.
Well, if that was one of his so-called split-fingered off-speed pitches, it'll certainly give him pause to toss it again. 2 home runs in the first inning, and it could be worse. And the batter, Darrell Evans. You know, in the NFL, the best team would be like 14-2, and the worst team would be maybe 2-14. But not that way in baseball. It's really a matter of a game or so. As Evans goes deep to center. What would you say in basketball and hockey? I guess the best teams win maybe 80%. But in baseball, the best team wins 2 out of 3. The worst team loses 2 out of 3. And that's not much of a difference, really, is it? 1 game out of 3. The whole difference between top and bottom. High fly ball into left center and deep. Downing and Pettis, and Downing to the track. Boy, it has been batting practice in the first inning, and the Tigers hang up 3 at the end of half an inning. Detroit 3, and the Angels coming up. The California Angels have pulled 9 games out in the 9th inning this year, and they're behind already to Jack Morris, and here's the lineup that will try to play catch-up. Gary Pettis in center field, Rod Carew at first, and Brian Downing in left field. Rupert Jones, the former Tiger, is in right field. Reggie Jackson, the DH. Bobby Grich at second, with Howell at third because Doug DeCinces has a bad back. Schofield, who made that brilliant play at short, and Bob Boone, who has a pulled groin muscle, but nevertheless he's playing behind the plate.
Defensively, it'll be Hernan in left field and Chet Lemon in center field, and he's got a lot of room to roam, and you know the kind of plays he can make. And Kirk Gibson is in right field. Brookins, he made a tremendous play last night at third base. Trammell Whitaker around second base. Evans is at first base. Parrish behind the plate, and Jack Morris on the mound. And what can you say about Jack Morris that we haven't said? He just battles you from the time he walks out there.
Well, we can say that he is 13-7 with the league, and he's been particularly effective on the road. He's won 9 and lost 4 away from Tiger Stadium. He is 0-1 against the Angels this year, and he is 9-4 lifetime.
Now take a look at Lance Parrish behind the plate. Ben, he is I'd say the most color-coordinated catcher, with the orange shin guards, orange glove, orange chest protector. Looks like a big orange sherbet, doesn't he?
Really? But you got to tell him, not me. You want to call him orange sherbet? You go ahead.
He does. He looks like one of those flavors, one of those exotic flavors. If a pitcher can't see that for a target, well, he could work at night in highway construction, just standing there.
Gary Pettis will start it off. Gary hitting .247, a home run and 17 RBIs, an electrifying player. Extremely valuable defensively and on the base paths especially.
He's another one of those players, they want him to hit on top of the ball, hit the ground ball, put it in play. The pop fly, the fly ball, no good. He doesn't have that kind of power. He's got warning track power, but with his speed, 2 hops in the infield, he could be safe at first base.
2-0. The problem is he has 1 home run, and he has struck out 76 times. That's a killer combination, because if he gets on base for you, that's another story. He's stolen 39 bases. On the corner, 2-2. You know, we were trying to explain earlier the small difference really between good and bad in baseball as opposed to football and basketball. And you take these 2 teams and give you 2 little areas, and I think you'd be surprised. The difference in runs scored. You know, the Angels all year have scored 8 more runs. That's all, 8 more runs than the Tigers. You take the earned run average, Detroit is 3.6, California 3.6. And yet one is sitting on top of the world and the other is grumbling in the dark. And that will bring up Rod Carew.
Now, Pettis has the green light to go at any time, but he does have to look at his manager, who will stop him and say, don't run. You got to believe that 3-run lead by the Tigers is going to just militate against strategy as far as Mock and the Angels are concerned.
Rod Carew, 14th on the all-time hit list, is 9 more to go before he catches Lou Brock. And yet they pitch out.
I have to question that. I don't think I'd be pitching out. I really wouldn't be looking for him to go, because Carew's not going to hit that many double plays. Now watch him hitting a double play.
3-0 as Detroit flexed some muscle. A couple of home runs in the first inning against Kurt McCaskill. That's a strike. 1-1.
Parrish has the added luxury of having a pitcher out there that pitch outs that don't work really do not affect him. We saw that in the World Series on a double pitch out, and it did not bother Jack Morris, which is to me a real tribute to a good pitcher.
1-1. High drive into deep right center field. Back goes Gibson, and Lemon, it's gone. Sudden, Tigers 3 and Angels 2.
The irony of that home run, during batting practice, Carew was having a tough time as we watched this swing, and Gene Mock said, kind of an aside, he said he hasn't hit the ball on the fat part of the bat since his 3,000 hit. That baby was hit on a sweet spot.
It has brought the Angels right back into the game, and we're just starting. Now you have Downing, Jones, and Jackson, and Downing is really on a tear. Ball 1. The last home run by Carew was in May against Toronto. Downing has 17 home runs as we look at Rodney. But Downing only had 4 home runs when the season was half over. He has really exploded. They tell a story that Downing built a batting cage in his backyard, but he had to take it down. He was doing some construction in the backyard. And he went on a road trip about in the middle of the season, and his wife had the batting cage put back up. And he came back off the road, and that's when he started to hit. And now he's so much in love with that cage again, he's going uptown, baby. He's going to install lights. Lights. Hitting 277.
And he's opened his stance again.
2-2, the count to Brian Downing. Boy, what a start.
And with everything that we talked about, it all boils down to what do you do with the bat when the ball gets in the hitting zone? As Willie Mays says, I hit it. And that's it.
2-2. It's that classic story about Henry Aaron when they said, Henry, you got the label up? And he said, I ain't reading up here. 2-2. Breaking ball popped up foul. Parrish coming over getting help from Brookins, but Lance will do it himself. What better than an orange in Southern California?
That's right. Now, Lance Parrish took charge of that, but that's the kind of play that you always want to holler to your third baseman, a lot of room. Make sure he gets it. But he's a good, he makes that play very well.
Here's an interesting case as far as one year to another. Rupert Jones. He hit 12 home runs last year to help the Tigers win the pennant and the championship. You see, he has 18 home runs now. And if you took the fellas on the bench, not the starters for Detroit, but the bench, he has almost as many home runs. A drive to right, but Gibson will flag it. 2 down. Does anybody hit the ball easy in this game?
I tell you, watching these guys hit and then seeing Mariano Duncan hit a grand slam, and they better start checking the bats for cork.
And the ball. Well, here's the man. Red's a DH today. 20 home runs, 63 runs batted in. The RBI list, he's now tied with the great Rogers Hornsby. He just needs 4 more to catch Al Kaline. 4-1.
He's done some nice things in that streak, too, like the bat that he used to hit the home run to tie Lou Gehrig. He gave it to one of Gehrig's teammates who's still here, Jimmy Reese.
Yeah. Hey, I'll give you one for the books if you believe this. That's going to be hit foul, so out of play. Reggie Jackson hit his 521st home run against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what time it was?
No. I wasn't there.
He hit his 521st home run in Seattle.
7:30.
You're so quick. Yeah, it was 5:21.
All right.
All right. 2-1 the count.
See how fast I got?
I know, you're lightning. That home run, of course, tied Ted Williams for number 8, and he has moved ahead of, as he calls him, Teddy Ball. 2-1 the count. High foul behind the plate. Parrish coming back. No good.
I love when Reggie talks about that. He says, hey, I'm not saying I'm as good as Ted Williams or any of the greats I'm there. He said, but you know, if they ever put out a call that all the guys that hit 500 home runs are going to meet in Billings, Montana, they're going to have to invite me. He said, I got the numbers, and he's right.
Look at it. Even those numbers.
Is that something? Yeah. 990-time lifetime. I don't have that many M&Ms.
Do you know, in his 18 years, he's been on 11 first-place teams. You talk about a winner.
That tells you something.
Yeah. 2-2 to Reggie. It's 3-2 Detroit, and we're in the first inning. Fouled away.
You know, our opening was a tribute to Reggie, but it's so true. I mean, the home runs, yes, but that strikeout against Wells, he is Mr. Excitement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know he's here. Reginald Martinez Jackson, 39. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fought off a pitch that was flirting with the outside corner to stay alive. Jack Morris, the winningest pitcher in the major leagues from 1979 to the present time. And should he win today, he will win 100 in the 80s. He has been a dominant pitcher. Fouled away. So they gave him 3 runs to lean on in the first inning, and Rod Carew took 2 of them right back. It is very hot in Anaheim. I would say the temperature is in the 90s. So this could be a launching pad a la Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. 2-2. Ground ball wide of first. Backhanded there by Evans. Overhands to Morris coming over. So the Angels come right back with 2. And at the end of a wild first inning, Detroit 3, California 2. At the end of an inning, we have had 3 home runs in the game by Whitaker, Parrish, and Carew. Detroit leading the Angels 3-2, and I would think it's appropriate right now to talk about this day in history.
Okay.
This day in history, 45 years ago, Ted Williams pitched. Ted Williams pitched 2 innings in Fenway Park in Boston.
Against whom?
Against the Red Sox. He allowed 3 hits, 1 run. Detroit.
Wait a minute. Ted Williams pitched against the Red Sox?
Against Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah, against Detroit. The final score was 12-1. He pitched 45 years ago today.
Is this a fair question? Why?
I guess to rest the bullpen, you know.
And you put Williams 60 feet 6 inches from home plate?
Yeah. Happened. 2 innings, 3 hits, 1 run allowed. Fouled away.
That was a goodie.
Yeah. 45 years ago. Kirk McCaskill, who certainly does not remember anything to do with 45 years ago. A solid hockey player in college. signed a professional contract with Edmonton. Now a big man, the Edmonton Jets. Or maybe we have the wrong town. Now it's Winnipeg. And a hit batter will send Larry Herndon to first. So Chet Lemon coming up with a runner at first, nobody out, second inning. 3-2 Detroit. Lemon last year had 20 home runs and 76 runs batted in. We're talking about one of the players who has tailed off. Of course, he's been banged up. Foul ball. He has only 7 home runs this year, and he didn't hit his first until the 39th game. So it's been an off year for Chet Lemon. Among other things, strained ligaments in his left wrist. So he's just not been quite the hitter. Herndon at first. Nobody out, second inning. 3-2 Detroit. Last note about the closeness of teams and yet how far apart they can be as far as the year is concerned. The Angels have only won 5 more games in Detroit. That's all. Oh, and 2. Followed by Tom Brookins. You have Herndon at first, nobody out. Second inning. Tigers 3, Angels 2. Fouled away.
McCaskill's delivery to the plate is not a quick release, and Herndon really does not have a big lead at first base. You would think he'd be able to get off a little bit farther than he does. You can usually measure it by the cut part of the grass, but he doesn't get out quite that far. He's about a step away from it. That angle's a bit deceiving.
You know, one thing, and you were there, Marcel Latchman, telling us that the great thing that McCaskill has, very quick feet, and he probably thinks he has those quick feet from playing hockey. And although maybe the upper torso doesn't move that quick, he can hold the runner on. Ground ball up the middle. Schofield back to Grinch. Too late at first. They're lucky to get the force play.
That was a tough play, and Chet Lemon actually, he was fooled on the pitch, checks his swing, and look how far Schofield goes. Gives Gritch a good ball to handle. Gritch, taking nothing for granted, fires to Carew, pulls him off the bag, but he went for it. Thing about this play, you see the check swing. Now watch Schofield show Gritch the ball. He took it out of his glove. A lot of times fellas will shovel it with the ball in the glove, and it's almost like a Harlem Globetrotter play, and it deceives the middle infielder, and you're in trouble.
So Tommy Brookins the batter with 1 out and Chet Lemon at first base. 3-2 in favor of Detroit.
Here's what he might put a play on with Brookins hitting.
Pitch out looking for that play. Lemon is not a stealer. He's 0 for 2, but you're thinking hit and run, of course.
Me and Boone are 0 for 1.
Brookins hitting .234. The big thing with him, you have to check his strikeouts, and he has struck out about 20% of the time. Think he was trying to take that breaking ball to right field?
Just trying to punch it that way. That was the best curveball that McCaskill's thrown right there.
1-1. Alex Grammas, the Candy Kid, coaching at third. Vado Pinson over at first. Two and one to count it, Tom.
Vado Pinson got hit with the line drive foul ball yesterday, and Ron Fairley on radio described it as trying to pick the 7-10 split. And Vado said that his mom and dad's going to be watching, and he said he's all right. Legs are in good shape.
2-1. Half swing, that's going to cost him a full strike. Remember Jocko Conlon used to umpire. He would say there's no such thing as a half swing.
That's right.
Yeah, he would not call it. He said, hey, You either swing or you don't swing. I'm not going to be a half swinger.
He also had the great line on the half balk. He said, when on the balk thing, he said, well, at least a half balk. He said, all right, I give you halfway between first and second.
And that's one of the more recent things in baseball, a plate umpire getting help on the check swing with first and third.
I think that was negotiated.
Yeah. 2-2, isn't everything? Foul back. Okay, did we ever decide, as you look at Gene Mauch, who managed 22 years and didn't win until 1982, then sat out 2 years and now has a shot at winning again, about gloves being taken off the field?
I know the year.
Line drive to center, base hit, a one-hopper as Pettis gets it back in. So with runners at first and second and one out, the batter will be Lou Whitaker. For youngsters looking at the game, you look out on the field, and that's what you see, the field. But for those of us who can remember, it used to be you'd play your position, you'd take your glove off, you'd scale it away, and go into the dugout. And games were played with the field littered with 8 gloves, or 7 anyway. So the question was, when did they take the gloves off the field? And I was a little surprised.
I was almost shocked. I was still playing. I should have remembered.
What year?
1954.
Good year. Giants won the World Series against Cleveland 4 straight.
Great year. Cubs sold me to the Giants for 1 month, and I got paid transportation from going west to east, and now amounted to almost my whole year contract.
Now let's see about Whitaker. He hit one out leading off in the first inning. Whitaker's 19th home run of the year, and it's the 15th time in his career that he has led off a game with a home run. And look at the difference in his stroke. He's really a power hitter. Right. 1-1.
You mentioned Ted Williams before. Williams is not surprised by Whitaker's power. When he talks about Whitaker, he said he's got that kind of a stroke that he can hit for power.
Throw down by Boone offline, and Lemon back to the bag. So you have 2 on, 1 out in the second inning, 3-2 Detroit. And on deck, Alan Trammell. In the first inning, Whitaker homered, Gibson singled, and Parrish homered. In the bottom of the first, Pettis walked and Carew homered. And now the Tigers going for more. Busted bat, ground ball, Schofield to Grit, back to Carew, too late. On the play, Lemon advancing to third, 2 down in the inning.
It's just a matter of speed. Whitaker just outran the play, although the ball was not hit that hard. As Vince said, he broke his bat, so it didn't really shoot out there, but the ball was handled cleanly.
Here's Alan Trammell. He lost a base hit on a brilliant play by Dick Schofield in the first inning. Fouled away. In thinking about differences for Detroit from last year to this, last year Milt Wilcox and Juan Berenguer had a total of 28 victories. Wilcox, of course, is not pitching, and Berenguer has won 2 games this year. So Sparky and company having their troubles in 85. 0-1 in there. Standing at first, Lou Whitaker. And over at third, Chet Lemon. 3-2 Detroit, top of the second. Tigers blowing a 4-run lead in the 9th inning last night, so Sparky's get to that stage where no lead is enough. To third, hard play. Hanging with it is Howell again, and boy, he had to fight that thing. It was drilled. So Trammell hits the ball hard and is 0 for 2. And at the end of an inning and a half, 3-2 Detroit.
On this last play, watch Howell's head, how he stays with it, keeps his eye on the ball, even though it hit him just all over the place, and he makes it. Too many times when a guy loses the ball, he wants to grab it, see where the runner is, takes his eye off the ball, and loses the play. He knew his job was to get that ball, and he stayed right with it. That was a good play.
And Howe, as Bobby Grich, followed by Jack Howell, and then Dick Schofield. 4-1. Bobby Grich with a modest 4-game hitting streak. You know, in looking at the Angels' rise, there are a lot of reasons. One is they have not gone into any real tailspin at any time this year. We'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WOC-TV in Davenport. Best bets in sports. Ian Watson.
The Angels this year have had only 3 losing streaks. 1 5 games, and the other 2 3-game losing streaks. The Dodgers are the same way. There's pretty good reason why the Angels and the Dodgers are where they are. For Gene Mauch and company, no nosedive. The Angels have been in first place since the 21st of June. In fact, they led by as much as 6.5. When they lost the 5, the lead was cut to 2. Ground ball up the middle. Trammell back to Evans. Safe at first. Nice call by Bobby Grich.
Bobby Grich running down the line. He was going to help the umpire make the call as he... Trammell's got to roam far to his left, makes a good play. Now he's running to the bag he has to throw it to. He had pretty good stuff on it, but Grich comes down. Watch him extend those arms. There he is, safe. See, he saw he'd have to go.
So Bobby Grich, the infield single against Jack Morris. And here's Jack Howell, who made the good play on that hard-hit ground ball by Alan Trammell to close out the 2nd inning. Doug DeCinces with a chronic sore back, so they needed Howell, and here he is. Jack hitting .230. DeCinces had 13 home runs and 59 runs batted in. Ground ball hit to the right side. Whitaker to Trammell, but late at first. One down, and Dick Schofield coming up. Sparky was talking about what's happened to Detroit in the 9th inning, and we just kind of wrote it down. Last night, they blew a 4-run lead in the 9th. Twice, they've blown a 3-run lead in the 9th. Once, they've blown a 2-run lead in the 9th. They've blown a 1-run lead in the 9th. They blew a 2-run lead in the 8th. They blew a 1-run lead in the 10th. And you wonder why he has white hair.
And wrinkles.
But doesn't smoke, except a pipe occasionally. Dick Schofield. Schofield not only flashing with the glove, he's not hitting 200, but in the classic words of Whitey Herzog, if you're going to hit 200, it had better be a hard 200. Well, that's pretty hard. 8 home runs, 36 RBIs. Jack Morris also said that Schofield, of all people, hit the first ever home run of his split-finger fastball. It was earlier this year.
With 1 out here and Boone coming up next, you really have to be alive, maybe putting a play on to stay away from that double play. They'd like to get to the top of the order.
0-2 the count. You know, that's a big difference between National and American League. The number 8 hitter.
Oh, sure.
In the National League, if the worst comes to worst, you get your pitcher up and out of the way, so you start the next inning with the leadoff man. 0-2 the count to Schofield. Just missed. 1-2. Detroit 3, California 2. We're in the bottom of the second inning. 90-degree day here in Anaheim. There goes the runner. The pitch high. Parrish's throw is even higher. So Jack Howell steals his first base.
Parrish had a good ball to handle. He just didn't get off a good throw. It's as simple as all that. You really felt like he was going to run because if he's out, you got Boone coming up. You put a play on and stay away from the double play because you want the top of the order. As we said, it was just a matter of time.
2-2 the count. Ball 3. So for the Jack Howell Marching and Chowder Society, that was his first major league stolen base. And he did it against an all-star combination. Jack Morris and Lance Parrish. Not a bad way to break it in. Check swing foul. 3-2 Tigers in the second. To Deck. 3 runs, 4 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Angels. We're in the second inning. Foul back. Rocky Rowe kind of shaking his head. You know, a nice thing, we should pause and mention it, too. The third base umpire, Larry Barnett, I'd like to salute. Larry was just honored recently. He has visited all 172 Veterans Administration hospitals in the United States. That's a remarkable humanitarian. And this would be a good time to point it out.
To the first one and just had so much fun, he just kept going back.
Boy, 172. I believe he's the only man to have ever gone to all the VA hospitals.
Very thoughtful, unselfish guy.
And how, and deserves a tribute. 3-2. Foul back.
You could see Morris is almost a bit disgusted, as if to say, will you please hit the ball as we look at Boone in the on-deck circle? On a hot day, you want to make as few pitches as possible, and you get a guy out there who's fouled off 4 or 5, and he's really making you load that wagon.
Bob Boone waiting his turn on deck. And that got inside corner to hammer him. Strikeout number 1 for Morris. By the way, we have a note here. Number 8. A man named Charlie Owen of Temple Hills, Maryland, called regarding gloves on the field. He's a member of the Society for Baseball Research.
Saber, yeah.
He said in 1980, Joe DiMaggio hit a glove. It went for a double at Griffith Stadium, so the rule was made in 1954 that gloves could not be left on the field anymore. Interesting sidebar. Ball 1 to Bob Boone.
52, we were trying to get some of our Pirates to wear them.
Took a while for them to wear helmets. 1 ball and no strikes to Bob Boone. 3-2 Detroit in the second. Jack Howell at second base. Good save by Lance Parrish. 2-0.
Vin, you talk about tributes. The fellow just called. There are fans like that all over the country who dig up these great unknown facts. And I mean, like most doubles with the full moon, most triples with the Wednesday afternoon.
Well, I like that idea of the glove.
Oh, I think it was great.
Yeah.
It is.
Remember when they used to hide garter snakes in guys' gloves and do all that kind of stuff?
Ask Kiner.
Why? What happened there?
We were in a bullpen. Walker Cooper loaded his glove up with tobacco and grass and gum and just stuffed all the fingers. And when Kiner went to get it, man, that glove was rated R.
2-1, the count to Bob Boone. Popped in the air. Now let's see. With Morris directing traffic, they're coming at him from all sides. And it's Darrell Evans. So a base hit, a man left, and at the end of 2, 3-2 Detroit. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Against Detroit?
Yeah. 3-2 in favor of the visiting Detroit Tigers, who got the jump in the first inning and saw the Angels come right back and get 2. And it'll be Kirk Gibson, followed by Lance Parrish, and then Darrell Evans. It's fun to get people involved. Remember earlier we mentioned the fact that 45 years ago today, Ted Williams in Fenway Park pitched 2 innings against Detroit, gave up 3 hits and a run. The Tigers won. It was a runaway game, 12-1. But a fan called in, and what did he say?
That Williams struck out Rudy York.
That made his day.
And added on to your earlier story per phone call.
Kirk Gibson.
You're getting them today, boy.
Single to run in the first inning. He was aboard, and Parrish followed when he hit it out. Off speed. That time he got that off-speed pitch too high to swing at. The last time he got the off-speed pitch high enough to hit, Parrish hit it into the next Parrish. Fouled away. 1-1.
During the course of this game, with our center field shots that you see, watch Bob Boone behind the plate. I would say right now he's probably the best at framing the strike zone. Stays nice and low, kind of glides over, glides inside, keeping that ball in the strike zone. See him?
Surprised to see him run up as if to bunt. Gibson has 2 home runs and a single and 6 at-bats against McCaskill. He'd do him a big favor to try and run up. 1-2. Right side of the infield. Gritch is on the grass, and Carew playing like it's late in the game, guarding the line. Big gap in left center field. Two and two. Sound like somebody hollered swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two balls, 2 strikes. He swung and lined it right at Rupert Jones. You know, Anaheim is not that far away from Hollywood. Kirk McCaskill, Ron Romanek know about it.
Wanted, and the only thing I wanted was them.
You bought 2 men?
Yeah, and there's more.
Oh, I bet there's more.
Yeah, lots more. 33 of them, all in tight pants. Ron, Kirk, I would like you to meet my fiancé, Huge Bradford. His friends call him Pee-wee.
Hi, nice to meet you, Pee-wee. Yeah, nice to meet you.
You're a lucky guy, Eugene. Life is some kind of woman. She knows what she wants, and she goes out and gets it.
Yeah, some kind.
Now, you see, now, they played for the Dodgers. They'd say, well, yeah, they've gone Hollywood. But they're down here in the sanity of Orange County, right? Ball 1. Days of Our Lives, of course. One of the solid soaps on NBC.
I like the way that McCaskill delivered that line, too,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, a lot of feeling.
All the warmth of a social director on a slave ship.
2 balls and no strikes. In there. 2-1. Tigers got 3 in the first inning. Whitaker homered, Parrish homered with Gibson aboard. Angels came back with 2. Rod Carew homered with Pettis aboard, and that's it. You're up to date. 3rd inning. Rodney's first home run since the middle of May. A drive to dead center. Pettis going back, way back. This one is gone. McCaskill is really being roundly whacked. He had allowed 12 home runs this year, and he's allowed 3 home runs in 3 innings. And look for Lance Parrish.
Here's that home run swing and straightaway center field. I said to him before the game as McCaskill sees it and he reacts to it. I said, how do you feel, Lance? He says, you were a catcher. Did you ever feel good? He must feel pretty good after those two.
That's a strike. It's also the third home run that Lance has hit against McCaskill. So Gibson and McCaskill, and now Parrish, those two really wear him out. Darrell Evans fly to center in the first inning. Tigers 4, Angels 2 in the third. Out away. 1-2. We were comparing these teams before, showing you there's not much to choose really except in the standings. There's a big difference in home runs, but of course a big difference in the ballpark. The Tigers have hit 148 home runs. The Angels 115. Say, we'd like to remind our viewers we'll be selecting the NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game at the conclusion of the ball game. That was the first strikeout for Kirk McCaskill. Here's Nelson Simmons. He flied to left in the first inning. Fouled away.
Oddly enough, that was a hard curveball he used to get Evans. He's been throwing a slow curveball, an off-speed pitch, but that third strike on Evans was a hard curveball. That was really biting as it went in.
And that's hit to right. Jones had a good jump on the ball. Had there been a moment's hesitation, that thing would have hit the grass, but he was meeting it on the dead run. Home run by Parrish at the end of 2.5, 4-2, Detroit. We have a moment before we get back to play to put in a little get well message to a member of the NBC Sports family, to young Nadia Quinones, age 7, who was operated on yesterday, the daughter of one of our engineers and one of the dearest guys in the world, and we certainly wish her well for a speedy recovery.
And Vin, it sure was good to see George Goodale here and feeling better. George's been around baseball many, many years and had a stroke, and he's here at the ballpark and laughing and cutting up.
Here's Gary Pettis. He'll start it off. Rod Carew and then Brian Downing. Pettis walked in the first inning, lifts one to left field, and Larry Herndon is there with the shades down. One away. Boy, it's a bright sky, not a cloud up there. Temperature about 90. That's about as blue as it gets. You could set that in your ring.
You know, we talked about Reggie Jackson giving his bat to Jimmy Reese. When Rod Carew got his 3,000 hit, he'd been saving baseballs the last 5 or 6 on the way there, and he was signing the baseballs and giving them to personal friends and staff, and every member of the team got one from him.
Oh, that's great. A little late on that pitch, 0-1. Carew, the 2-run home run in the first inning. There's Jimmy Reese.
What a guy. There was a line I read about him. I wish they would say it about me.
In there.
It said, Jimmy Reese, the next time he has a grumpy word for someone, it'll be the first time. What a lovely, lovely man.
He roomed with Babe Ruth, so he could tell you a few stories.
We sat on the bench with the bubblegum cards I had. He was naming them off and just telling me the positions and everything. I'm going back to the 1900s.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Carew. Ground ball to shortstop. Alan Trammell is there. 2 down here in the third inning, with Detroit leading 4-2 in a battle of home runs. That 4 home runs in the game. Whitaker, 2 by Parrish, and 1 by Carew. And Brian Downing, who fouled out in the first inning, coming up. Brian 0 for 1. Downing said for the first time in his life he fouled a ball down on his shin bone. He'd never done that before. He's not going to wear any little splint, but he does have it taped. Left shin. 4-1.
He really does a little dance step before he swings. There you see the taped left leg, the shin bone. You can see the ridge in there. But watch him as he starts his stride, how he does a little, almost a tap dance, 2 steps. You get on his toes.
Off Wow, Morris almost fell on his letters. He came flying off that mound. I think his spikes got caught in a hole. He's lucky he didn't get hurt. Watch this. He leaves the ballpark.
That's what I call a follow-through.
The judges give him a 9, a 9-4. 2 balls, no strikes. 4 runs, 5 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 2 hits for the Angels. We're in the 3rd inning. That's another. 2-2. Bryant hitting .276. Got him. And lo and behold, the side is retired in order. And at the end of 3 in a game that is swing. A reminder, preseason football right here on NBC Sports tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Raiders. The game will not be seen in the Los Angeles area. Catch all the exciting action on NBC Sports. Larry Herndon, Chet Lemon, and Tom Brookins. Breaking ball for a strike. 4-2 Detroit in the 4th inning. Herndon hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. 1-1. Fouled off stairs to the right, and the count 1-2. Detroit with 3 in the 1st. The Angels came back with 2. The Tigers added another in the 3rd. The starters are still in there, but they've been playing long ball. Half swing, and that will cost the strike. So Herndon strikes out. 2nd strikeout for McCaskill, who has a high of 8 this year. And the batter will be Chet Lemon, who hit into a force play in the 2nd inning.
His tempo has definitely changed, and what it's done is gotten him ahead of the hitters.
1-2 the count to Chet Lemon. Pretty good fastball, and Tom Brookins on deck.
And the big stranger has been that split finger change up or whatever he calls it.
That's what it is. He's on the beam with the fastball now. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he has faced.
And the last 2, the 3rd strike was out of the strike zone. That was definitely high. The one to Herndon, definitely inside. Look where that pitch is. Tough to lay off with 2 strikes.
So the batter is Tommy Brookins, who singled in the 2nd inning. Hitting .236. That's a strike. All of a sudden now he's in a groove.
Hard stuff. He's using what got him here.
High pop foul off to the right. Coming down is Carew. He has the play. He's got the ball. So that's 5 in a row retired since Parrish home run. And at the end of 3.5, Detroit 4, California 2. And some big guys coming up. We're moving to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Anaheim. Detroit leading the Angels 4-2. It'll be Rupert Jones, followed by Jackson and Gritch. Rupert flied to right in the 1st inning, 0 for 1. Rupert hitting .267. He only has 5 hits against Detroit this year, but 2 of them home runs. Speed. 0-1. That thing must have looked like a basketball coming up there. Jack Morris trying to win his 14th. Half swing. The hitters now not getting the same rips that they had in the first 2 innings. The first sign that the pitchers have improved. Morris won 19 for Detroit last year and 20 the year before that. Check swing foul. Little string that was kept alive by the Angels in the first inning when Rod Carew homered. The Angels have now homered at least once in 9 straight games. So besides 3,000 hits, he kept that other string alive. 0-2. 4-1. Waiting his turn on deck is Reggie. Fastball hit to the right side, and that's Whitaker country. So Morris has now retired 7 in a row since Gritch had the infield singles, and Reggie Jackson coming out. Reggie grounded to Darrell Evans in the first inning. You know, one of the things, and we've been talking naturally, what has happened to Detroit, the world champion, that magnificent machine that played last year. And what has happened to it, that's going to go foul down the line out of play. Last night, the Detroit Tigers not only lost here in Anaheim, they hit rock bottom in the league in fielding. Can you imagine a world championship team is the last in fielding the next year?
That's some turnaround.
I mean, how in the world can you explain that? 0-1. Ground ball to Whitaker. So the starting pitchers would assume that they have now gotten some rhythm. 8 in a row retired. And Bobby Gritch coming out. He had the infield single up the middle in the second inning, and he's hitting 5 straight. 4-2 Detroit in the 4th.
They sure give Gritch a lot of room in right center field. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Fouled away. I wonder if hitters get careless, or whether a hitter, as he walks up to home plate, will instinctively look to see how they're playing him defensively.
Oh, I think, man, I'd have to say all hitters do that, even the bad hitters.
They would look at the outfield,
sure,
figure they're going to get a message. Check, swing, says John Hirschbeck.
If Gritch walks up there and sees where they're playing, the first thing he runs through his mind, I'm sure, is if I hit a ball in right center field, I got myself a 3-base hit. But the message he's getting back is that Morris is going to keep him from hitting that way, which means he'll probably try to jam him. I mean, that's the customary way of doing it. If you never saw a pitcher, and that's the first time you faced him, but I'm sure Gritch has a book on Morris, but he's going to try to make him pull the ball.
0-2. Half swing, and he strikes out. So Jack Morris has settled down. Struck out 9 in a row. It's 4-2 Detroit at the end of 4, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Not a bad idea to have some head covering here in 90-degree temperature in Anaheim, and it doesn't hurt to have something cool to go along with it. Meanwhile, the pitchers, Kirk McCaskill and Jack Morris, neither one looked like he was going to make it in the first inning. They wobbled each in the first 2 innings, and they have pretty much settled down as we go to the 5th. Kirk has retired 5 in a row since Parrish homered, and Morris has retired 9 in a row since Gritch singled. So into the 5th, 4-2 Detroit. Whitaker, Trammell, Gibson.
Now,
Lou's 19th home run.
This will be an interesting battle since Whitaker hit the home run on a 3-2 pitch to see how McCaskill works on it.
0-1.
Wasn't going to give him that fastball on the first pitch.
I've never seen him pitch before that, but I think that's that change, that split finger thing. Whitaker keeping the infield on the move.
That's what that pitch is the one I thought was a split finger. I thought the first one was just a slow curve.
2-0.
But I'll tell you one thing, what got him here is that fastball.
There it is, and he's behind now. 3-0. So he walks him on 4, breaking the spell of having retired 5 in a row. First walk, he's also hit a batter. And Alan Trammell, who was a hard 0 for 2. He had a base hit taken away by Schofield in the first inning, and he almost cut Jack Howell in half in the second. And each time he still had to go back to the bench and sit down. Allen hitting .258. Last year he hit .314. He is one of the fellows who has really had a poor year. And of course Trammell, a solid ball player. Bunting in the air, foul. 0-1. Oh,
interesting.
Did you, if we got a minute, and if people like true baseball antics story, did you hear about the Dodgers on the road recently in Philadelphia? True story.
Go ahead.
Lasorda went out and spoke to a church group, and they wanted to pay him, and he said, no, I don't want to get paid. And they said, okay, the next time you come back to Philadelphia, we're going to have a luncheon for you. He said, okay. 1-1. So this week they went back, and the caterer was a member of the church, and he had cooked a huge pig with the stuffed apple, right? And they had a luau. And then a couple of the guys took the pig's head, the huge pig's head, put it in a bag and brought it back to the hotel. They put olives with pimentos as eyes. 1-1. They went up to Steve Sachs' room. Who else? They put the pig's head on the pillow underneath the coverlet, okay? Sachs is out having dinner, comes back to his hotel room, turns on the light in the bathroom and turns on the TV, and that's it. The only light in the room. 1-2 the count. Stretches out on the bed with his head against a bedpost to watch the telecast, and you know, your neck starts to hurt. And in the dark, he reaches over to get another pillow to support his head and feels something furry and fleshy, and he's in the dark. And he pulls off the coverlet, and a huge pig's head is on the bed looking at him. Now there's a note with the pig's head, and it said, Sachs, you better start playing better. Signed, the Godfather. Ground ball to the right side. Gritch feeding Schofield over to Peru. And I appreciate the Angel infield waiting until I finish that story. Now, is that a nightmare of all time?
I liked it till you got to the note. I didn't like the note.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, what a sense of humor.
He said that he panicked.
I bet he
did.
did.
In the dark, and there's a head on the pillow. Let out a scream, call security. 2 down, and here's Kirk Gibson. Strike. And what makes it great is that's true. That just happened the other day. Gibson single to right, lined out to right. Oh, good pitch. He was really way out in front of that. 0-2. The Angels leading the league in double plays, so they use their favorite weapon to help McCaskill. To Detroit. Top of the 5th inning. Ball 1. Gene Mark trying to get them all away. Gibson is caught looking. The top of the 5th is in the books. 4 strikeouts from McCaskill. At the end of 4 1/2, 4-2. Detroit Angels by 2.5 games. So this is a big one for California. 4-1. The Yankees trail Toronto by 4. San Diego trailing the Dodgers by 6.5. And the Mets trailing the Cardinals by 1 at the start of the day. 1-1.
We're getting to that time of the year when games become pivotal. It's a pivotal game.
Pivotal game.
Yes.
We haven't dusted that off yet.
We're getting there.
There's a one-hopper backhanded by Trammell. The throw in the dirt. Too late. So Alan Trammell lost a hit to Schofield and tried to return the favor, but couldn't do it.
Ball was it was hit so hard, he had to take that extra step, and Schofield was able to beat it out.
I was thinking that's an AstroTurf throw that Allen made. If he makes that on an AstroTurf field, a la Davy Concepcion, he probably gets the runner.
And right here, just for the fun of it, I'd pitch out, man, just to see if anything was going on.
Schofield has stolen 6 out of 9. 4-2 Detroit, bottom of the 5th. Right. By the way, if you're thinking along this, and there is 1 out, but if you want to try to stay away from the double play, etc., Boone leads the Angels with sacrifice bunts. So if the Moose puts it on, we'll see. Full swing foul off third, down the line, a trio of Tigers no play.
You know, Boone became a much better hitter this year when he spread out. He's got a very wide stance. He hardly takes a stride, kind of lifts that front foot and puts it back down and just really puts the ball in play. He's a good man to put a play on because he can make contact.
Just watching, Alan Trammell almost hurt himself. He came close enough to wince. I think he hit the base of the box seats with one of his feet. Let's see. Right in there. Bingo. And he came off there grimacing and went back to his position. That might slow down his range at short. We'll see. 0-2 the count to Booney. And there goes the runner. The pitch high, and the throw is higher.
It's the same throw he made before. He had a good ball to handle, but it's to the glove side of Whitaker, and it's over the letters, which is it's a tough throw to make the tag. But to catch it, bring it down, and by that time he's picked it up. Not a bad ball to handle.
So Howell stole in the 2nd inning. Schofield steals in the 5th. 1-2 the count to Bob Boone. 4-2 Detroit. Ground ball to 3rd. That's Brookins across Devon. And of course, it's a big steal a 2nd. They would have gotten a double play otherwise. So 2 down. Schofield holding, and Gary Pettis coming up. Walked and flied to left.
That Brookins, every time we do the Tigers, I say it, but I do mean it. I think he's so underrated. You just wind him up, put him out there, and he gives you a good game.
Pretty hard to think about other third basemen in the American League when you always hear about George Brett and Wade Boggs.
True.
Just to mention 2.
True.
Fastball.
He's a great guy on the club, too. When that young Patero was sent out, he gave him a great line. He said, hey, don't feel that bad. Just look at it this way. I'm the only guy you're going to have to beat out.
Tommy Brookins. Gary Pettis trying to pick up Schofield. It's 4-2 Detroit, bottom of the 5th.
the good pitcher, Vin, when you put that man in scoring position, it's almost like it's just the hitter and the pitcher. Morris is really going out after Pettis.
Yeah, he wants to nail Pettis so he doesn't have to look at Carew. Fouled away. Jack Morris has struck out 3. To the count to Gary Pettis. Pettis, who was a strikeout hitter, and they were walking off on that one. We were talking about Pettis striking out earlier, and we gave you his totals as having struck out 76 times left-handed. But with 1 home run, he has struck out 95 times all told. 1 and 2. 2 and 2. Boy, he can go and get him.
Boy, he can. He made 2 good catches again last night. That first one he made, he simply outran the ball. Here's the pitch of decision. Morris is that kind of a pitcher. Good pitchers very rarely will take a hitter deep with men in scoring position. 3-2 count. He'll make it happen on 2-2.
2 and 2 to Gary Pettis. Got him on the corner. And they leave Schofield at second base. And at the end of 5, it's 4-2 Detroit. Now here's another edition of Baseball Remembers. One of the miracles of the game, the fact that starting pitchers who look so wobbly in the first 2 innings can suddenly do a complete about-face.
Well, a lot of times when a pitcher starts, he hasn't got anything. You hope that when he goes on, he'll find it, and in the case of McCaskill, it looks like the change in tempo, the rhythm. He's starting to speed it up and go more to his fastball, and he's getting ahead of those hitters, and it's made a change. Morris is Jack Morris. He's going to find a way, and that's why he has the record that he has.
Well, as we go to the 6th inning, it'll be Parrish, Evans, then Nelson Simmons. 4 runs, 5 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Angels.
Now, if you were McCaskill and Parrish had just hit 2 home runs, what would you throw him first pitch?
I'd throw him a curveball in the dirt. There's a breaking ball.
Oh, I was going to say anything but the fastball.
Yeah.
I think I would have tried to throw a strike, but
I would figure he was going to come up there and try and really take me downtown, so I'd see if he wouldn't chase a bad one.
You've got a chance to be a catcher.
Oh, thanks. Too late. 0-1. And hits the bat, and the count 0-2.
Now, you're ahead of him. 2 strikes, no balls, and he's hit 2 home runs off you.
I'm going to take a fastball above his eyes, somewhere up high.
Up high, inside.
Yep.
If I miss, it's going to be towards him.
And it's going to flatten him.
Okay.
0-2 to Parrish. Breaking ball away, which is a safe place to miss if you're going to miss, right?
You could see Boone, as he gave that target, just kind of glide his way out there. He was just using that as kind of a setup pitch. Boone will tell you where he wants it now. Watch him. There it is, same spot.
2-2.
Now that's as far as you want to go. Right here, you want to make it happen. 3-2, he's liable to take you downtown again.
4-2 in favor of the Tigers. We're in the 6th inning. High fly ball, but he didn't quite get enough of it. Downing is there, fighting the sun. 1 away. We'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Davenport, the sports leader in the Quad Cities.
4 runs, 5 hits for the Tigers. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Angels here in the top of the 6th inning. Vin Scully with Joe Garagiola on a hot day in Anaheim. Evans flied to center and struck out 0 for 2. 4-1. Darrell's having a big year. Where some of the others have been falling back. Evans looks like he might have the second best power year of his career. You know, he hit 41 home runs for the Braves 12 years ago. Then he hit 30 with the Giants 2 years ago. And he promptly bangs it to center. So Evans 1 for 3 as he singles. And the batter, Nelson Simmons. Simmons, a DH, flied to left, flied to right.
Wasn't he the reason that they were able to make the Rupert Jones or didn't worry about signing Rupert because they wanted to give this youngster the chance?
And remember the spring training he had.
They great, that's right.
Yeah, outstanding. When he first came back from the minor leagues, he came back blazing. In fact, in his first 5 games after being recalled, Simmons had 10 RBIs. A total of 7 home runs, 23 ribbies. Evans at first, 1 out. Top of the 6th inning, Tigers 4, Angels 2. Larry Herndon on deck. On the fists, tried to fight it off and fouled it back.
He's really spotting the ball well, too. When he misses, he's missing the way they can't do anything. That's if the expression is correct, the ultimate mistake when you're trying to set up a pitch and then you miss it in the strike zone where they can really rip it. But McCaskill hasn't been doing that. He's been missing and missing good spots.
Fly ball into shallow left center, but Pettis is there. So we have 2 down in the 6th inning. Larry Herndon will be coming up. He's been hit by a pitch and struck out. A reminder, this telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Herndon, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs. Hitting .247. Tigers scored 3 in the 1st inning, and the Angels came back with 2. Tigers added another in the 3rd, and the pitching has settled down considerably. You see the way Carew tried to make that tag? He took the throw and started the sweep tag in foul territory. That's one of the first rules I heard from Branch Rickey. You will never get the runner at first if you start your tag in foul ground. Can't do it. Ball 2. Let's take a look. Watch his glove now. Goes all the way around. Can't get him that way. Imagine the mind to first think about that.
I never heard that.
2-0. In those days, you'd go to spring training, and Branch Rickey would hold a symposium. He'd have a couple of 100 players in it.
Oh, I've been in those.
And wow, something. Well, that puts Herndon aboard, and with 2 on and 2 out, Chet Lemon coming up. McCaskill has hit a batter and walked 2. And Lemon has hit into a force play and struck out. So Chet 0 for 2, batting .258.
Boone behind the plate likes to throw like that. It's just one of those ad-lib kind of plays. It keeps those runners a step or 2 closer after he makes the throw.
High drive, and that's up the alley in left center, and that's going to go all the way. Home run, and that breaks it open. 3-run home run for Lemon. It is 7-2 Detroit. Their 4th home run. Caskill had allowed 7 home runs in his first 6 games this year. Then he settled down to only allow 4 in his last 15, and they have just eaten him alive today. Swings a strike. (7-2) Detroit. Kansas City is hosting Texas. Bert Hooton due to go for Texas, and Brett Saberhagen trying to win his 16th due to go for Kansas City. And this is a big game for Kansas. So add 3, and at the end of 5½, Detroit 7, California 2. A flashback. It was August 4th. Rod Carew facing Frank Viola of Minnesota. Bingo. There it was. Base hit number 3,000 for Rodney, the 16th player in history to have that many base hits. It was the same day that Tom Seaver won his 300th game at Yankee Stadium.
When you mentioned Minnesota, 2 of the game balls he gave to other fellas, one to Oliva and one to Killebrew, because they were teammates. Yeah, we were both here.
Because Harmon Killebrew was doing the television, and Oliva, of course, the coach. I don't know, the 3,000 hits. I guess the next man who might be able to make it, close enough, he has to stay healthy, has to stay in the American League, stay a DH and play a little bit and get a lot of at-bats, would be Al Oliver. Two-run home run, grounded to short. In there. Oliver needs quite a few. I think at the start of the year, if I remember, Oliver needed 320 some odd hits. 2-2, the count to Rod Carew. Downing and Jones and Jack Morris staked to a 7-2 lead. Fouled away. Talking about 3,000 hits, there are a couple of fellas who are close, but I really can't think that realistically they would make it. That would be Tony Perez and Rusty Staub. Over in the American League, of course, George Brett, he's about 1,000 hits away.
He may get that this weekend.
3-2. Ground ball to third. Brookins is right there. 1 away in the 6th inning. Tell you, Morris has really settled down. Since the 1st inning, when he gave up the 2-run home run to Carew, he has allowed 2 hits, both infield singles to short. One by Gritch, one by Schofield. He has allowed 2 men to get to second, and that's it.
I only got 2 putouts for the outfielders, too. One in the 3rd and one in the 1st.
Yep. Brian Downing fouled out, struck out, 0 for 2, hitting .276 with 17 home runs, 69 runs batted in. Ground ball to third, short hop nicely by Tommy Brookins, high throw, but Evans stayed with it. 2 out in the 6th inning. That'll bring up Rupert Jones. Well, we were talking about Minnesota. They're leading Boston 1-0 in the 7th inning. And Baltimore, Oakland scoreless in the 4th. Rupert Jones flied to right and grounded out to Lou Whitaker.
Parrish is really doing a number on Rupe. He's got him talking back and forth. Teammates last year, you can use a lot of material that you used in the clubhouse last year.
1-0. Gene Mauch thinking about lifting McCaskill, who's allowed 7 runs, 7 hits, and 4 home runs. Luis Sanchez, who's celebrating his 32nd birthday, tuning up in the pen. Fly ball to right and down the line. A trio of Tigers. It will be Gibson catching up to it. So they're gone in the 6th, and at the end of 6th, Detroit 7, California 2. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. In the 7th inning, Lou Whitaker followed by Alan Trammell and then Kirk Gibson. Lou Whitaker. The Tigers leading, and leading handily 7-2. McCaskill's still in there, and he'll go head-to-head with Whitaker, who took him deep into the seats in the 1st inning. Since then, hit into a forced play and walk. For the Angels, for their pitcher to give up 4 home runs in a game, that goes in their history book. It happened a year ago and against Detroit. 1-1. Ground ball to first. Carew is right there.
You know, when a guy gives up, I say, more than 3 home runs in the ball game, certainly it's going to affect him. You can see he's almost got the shell shock look. But even as a catcher, you start to get leery about your game plan, and you start to say, hey, man, maybe they're getting some signs, or I'm not setting them up right. And you're thinking about all kinds of things that you ordinarily wouldn't think about when there aren't that many home runs here.
The only, not consolation, that wouldn't really be the word, but for Bob Boone, for instance, he's thinking, well, I certainly can't second-guess myself about Lance Parrish hitting 2 home runs in a game. I might think a little bit about Lemon because he's having an off year, and Whitaker's having a phenomenal year. Fly ball into right, and Rupert Jones is there. 2 down in the 7th.
But even at that, you start to think about, well, am I setting it up right?
Yeah, sure. We're so quick to blame ourselves anyway.
Right.
Here's Gibson. Single to right in the 1st inning, lined out to right in the 3rd, and then struck out in the 5th. It's another thing about seeing an American League game as opposed to a National League game. Here is McCaskill. He'd worked 135 innings prior to today. There's no way he'd still be pitching in the other league.
Are you saying you're against the DH?
No, what I'm just saying, though, that it's almost like needless pitching for this kid. He's down 7-2. He has been racked, and he's still pitching.
Yeah, but his folks are in Phoenix. They're enjoying it.
You're right.
The reason for everything.
1 and 2.
I agree with you, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough.
In the National League, chances are he wouldn't be there. Wonder what's ever going to happen with that poll. Didn't the commissioner take a poll? He was going to...
Well, he took a poll, I guess.
And that's it, huh? He just took a poll. It's like the guy...
Silent poll.
Guy comes up and says, heard your broadcast yesterday.
Gene Mauch down by 5. It's 7-2 Detroit. And Sparky not counting anything. Not after all the late inning disasters he has had occur. 1-2 the count to Kirk Gibson. Will do it for Kirk Gibson, and McCaskill sets him down in order in the 7th at the end of 6½. Detroit 7, California 2. Here's another edition of the 7th inning stretch.
Well, it's 7-2 Detroit, but we mentioned Sparky isn't counting anything. It was 6-2 going into the 9th inning last night.
And I'll bet you that's right here in the front of his mind, not the back of his mind. Right there, he's thinking, last night I had a pretty good lead. I'm not taking anything for granted.
No, we better not take anything for granted, except to remind everybody you and I will have the pleasure of being in Yankee Stadium next week. We'll see the Yankees and the Angels.
Those Yankees are really on the streak. They are playing well. They are playing well. Looking forward to that one. Then we got the Dodgers and the Mets. Gooden. How about Gooden? We got a good schedule coming up. And then we have the playoffs. It's League Championship Series, I mean.
All right. In the bottom of the 7th inning, here's Reggie, followed by Bobby Grich and then Jack Howell. Reggie grounded to Darrell Evans and rolled out to Lou Whitaker. 7-2 Detroit. Strike. Morris, as we said, has allowed just 2 hits since the 1st inning. Morris trying to win his 14th. But if he wins today, his record on the road will be 10-4. So he's had his problems at Tiger Stadium. High foul off third, out of play. It's interesting, at least up to here, every foul ball that Reggie has hit has been down the left field line as you look at the all-timers. And you can see where Reggie is now, all alone, number 8, and pretty close to Jimmy Fox. 0-2. Bouncer to the right side. Whitaker is there. 1 away in the 7th inning.
Morris in the first 2 innings made 48 pitches. Last 4, 44 pitches. He's made 3 here. That's pretty good.
Boy, he's really on the beam. You start looking at this, 2 infield singles since the 1st inning. Only 3 fly balls in the game. 1 to left and 2 to right. And here's Bobby Grich. Strike. Grich had an infield single and struck out. Strike. 7 runs, 7 hits for Detroit, but 4 of the 7 hits home runs. Whitaker, Lemon, and 2 by Parrish. Two and 1. For the Angels, a home run by Rod Carew. So we've had 5 home runs. Or taters, as I guess it was George Scott who brought it.
George Scott,
yeah.
Right.
5 taters.
He had more colorful expressions.
Now they call them dingers.
First time George talked about a fastball inside, he said to me, "You give me some heat in the kitchen, I'm gonna hit you a tater." What are you gonna do? With what?
Oh, my. 2-2. Check swing, slow roller. It's Brookins to get him. And no more bloopers or Texas Leaguers. The modern day blooper is now called a flare. Let's see, but even parts of the body had names. I don't hear very much of them anymore, but if you had a sore arm, you had a bad hose.
Bad hose.
If you had something in your eye, you had bad bulbs.
Orbs, you had the bad orbs.
Bad orbs. Bad legs, bad wheels. Upset stomach, bad boiler. Out away. Jack Howell hit into a force play, grounded out 0 for 2.
Hands, you had the bad paws.
Snippers.
Clang, clang.
0-1. Ooh, good fastball. He had a pretty good rip at it. 0-2. 7-2 Detroit, bottom of the 7th inning.
Boy, you can just see he smells it and he's going after it. When a fella has a record like Morris, it is no accident.
Oh, no. Foul ball out of play.
Get some guys into the 7th and 8th inning, they get a stiff neck looking to the bullpen.
In 1983, just 2 years ago, Jack Morris completed 20 of his starts. So the bullpen, they're just enjoying some rays here in Anaheim. 0-2. 4-1. Jack, as you can see, third in complete games. Blyleven is number 1 with 18.
And with Sparky Anderson, your manager, that really takes on even greater meaning because remember over in Cincinnati, he was Captain Hook.
1-2. Now he has a safety catch on that hook. He was saying to us before the game, he apologized to Walt Terrell. He said, I've cost you 3 wins. He said, I've lifted you with leads in the 8th and 9th inning, and the bullpen had let you down. He said, from now on, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to form a committee, and I'm going to stay away from it. And then last night, he went out and took Shearer out, and the roof fell in, and he said, you see, I got to managing again. That's one thing about George. He has kept his perspectives. He has kept his sense of humor.
He has.
He knows he had a great year last year, but sooner or later they're going to present you with the bill. 7-2 Detroit, 2 out in the 7th. And 7 in a row retired by Jack Morris. That'll be a base hit. Chet Lemon plays it on a hop. So a 2-out single by Howell. That's only the 4th hit for the Angels, and Dick Schofield coming up. Last night, the Angels had 7 runs on only 4 hits. Schofield struck out and had the infield single, 1 for 2. Run lead. Detroit doesn't expect the Angels to run themselves out of the inning. Howell had a stolen base earlier in the 2nd inning when the score was 3-2. Schofield followed by Bob Boone.
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm saying to myself, well, why would he not run? He's going to get a good jump, and if he gets thrown out, you got Schofield to lead it off, and Boone could put a play on and get it going that way. Maybe Sparky's almost like tempting him, and Parrish has had some problems throwing. He's had 2 good balls to handle, and he's thrown the ball in the same spot high. They're still behind him, though. They're giving him a lead. Brought the stolen base to where you just go at any time. Forget the score. 3 runs behind and 2 runs behind.
And then people would, let's say it was 7-2 the other way, and he would try to steal, and the pitchers would get furious and want to kill him, and he'd say, why? And the guy at the plate's still trying to hit a home run.
Exactly.
1-2. 2-2. Paid attendance today, 32,780, 32,780. So that puts the Angels almost 190,000 ahead of last year. They have drawn not quite 1.4 million. They're gaining. In fact, we're checking on that. That's the road record. So with the 32, they've now drawn 2,036,000.
They're We're talking $2.6 million here if they stay in the race, which looks like they will.
Give you an idea of Southern California. Talk about $2.6 million here, maybe 3-2 at Dodger Stadium, and in between you have the Raiders and the Rams. There he goes, and it's ball 4. For Jack Morris, that is only his second walk, and more importantly, it is the first walk he has issued since he walked the leadoff man, Gary Pettis. And with 2 on and 2 out in the 7th, Bob Boone, the batter. But it is a problem that he has to contend with, as you can see.
But it could be an indication, too. It's a little bit of a warning that the heat may be taking its toll, and Sparky will act accordingly.
Morris so far has completed 11 of his 27 starts. All right, here's Booney, 2 on, 2 out, 7th inning, 7-2 Detroit. Fastball. 0-1. Boone popped up to Darrell Evans and grounded to Tommy Brookins. So he's worked the corners. You have Schofield at first, Howell at second. And they each have a stolen base today. Breaking ball is lifted into left center field, and Herndon is there. So the Angels get a base hit and a walk and leave 2, and at the end of 7, Detroit 7 and California 2. A reminder tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, preseason football on NBC Sports. The Miami Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Raiders just up the road at the Coliseum. However, the game will not be seen in the Los Angeles area. Tell you what, unless there is a dramatic fall off in temperature, I wouldn't want to have to put on a helmet and shoulder pads, etc., in this heat, huh?
No. Tell you the truth, when I look at those guys, I wouldn't want to put on a helmet and shoulder pads and etc., etc.
Even for a picture-taking session.
Exactly, no. One of those guys that step on you, they could hurt you.
Talking about hurt you, here's Lance Parrish. And he has done a number on Kirk McCaskill. Homered with Gibson aboard in the first. Homered with nobody on in the third. Fly deep to left in the 6th. 1 ball, no strikes. 8th inning, 7-2 Detroit. 4 home runs for the Tigers. Two breaking balls in a row.
The last 2 balls that Boone has caught, notice how the back of his glove, he's kind of catches it and goes down and in with it, trying to frame that strike to steal one.
2-0. He did it that time.
He frames the pitches well, and it's not really, that's not fair to say he's trying to steal one. He really wants the close pitch, and he wants the strike. He doesn't want the umpire to miss it. He's going to help him all he can.
2 balls and 2 strikes as Parrish finally got a fastball to go after. Luis Sanchez is back up again here in the Angel bullpen, throwing behind Kirk McCaskill. Boy, I could say the hockey player's on thin ice now. 7-2 Detroit, 8th inning. And a drive up the alley in right center, and that will go to the fence. Gary Pettis chasing it. Lance will be stopping at second base with a double. Big day for the catcher. 2 home runs and a double. Darrell Evans flied to center, struck out, and singled to center. He's 1 for 3. He was aboard when Chet Lemon hit the 3-run home run in the 6th inning. And Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, going out to the mound. Seven runs, 8 hits for Detroit. 2 runs, 4 hits for California. Top of the 8th. Sanchez still throwing in the pen.
I think Clear was just about ready to give the sign that he was okay. Usually when the pitching coach takes his cap off, says to the people on the mound, yes, he's ready. And looks like Latchman was just out there to buy some time, and now he's going to make the change.
I haven't seen enough of the Angels that year. Most of the time, you see the manager make the change. It's rare that a pitching coach goes out and brings the hook. So Luis Sanchez going in, and Kirk McCaskill calling it a day. 7-2 Detroit. We'll be back. 32-year-old Luis Sanchez celebrating his birthday today. He celebrated last night one of his 2 victories. He set the Tigers down in order. He'll be pitching to Evans, then to Simmons and Herndon, with Lance Parrish at second base, nobody out in the 8th. The Tigers have really done some slugging. 4 home runs and a double. Whitaker with nobody on. Parrish with a man aboard and with the bases empty. Lemon with 2 men aboard, and Parrish has just doubled. So here's Darrell Evans.
And now you're going to see fastball pitcher against fastball hitter.
Sanchez didn't pitch much against Detroit last year, just an inning. He had a save. It was originally property of the Houston Astros, and he was traded to Cincinnati. And that was kind of an interesting deal. He was traded to Cincinnati to complete a deal which sent a pitcher to Houston, and that pitcher, Joaquin Andujar. Workhorse last year, led the Angels in games and saves. 2-1.
Certainly congratulations to Joaquin, 20-game winner.
And how? 20 in August. 2-1. All 3. Trying to get some outs, then trying to get some runs, but first he has to stop the Tigers. High foul off third, down the line. Jack Howell to the seats, back in 3 rows. 32,780 taken in the ball game today, and it is a hot, perfect day for baseball. Look at that. There's some fellas with some mileage, and look at the home runs. And for Fisk, he's going to pass Lance Parrish. High fly ball to right field. In the corner is Rupert Jones. Tagging is Parrish. And Lance on his way to third. So Evans, fly ball deep enough to right to advance his runner. And with 1 down, Nelson Simmons coming up.
Designated hitter, Nelson Simmons.
Simmons flied to left, flied to right, flied to center. Using the ballpark, but he's 0 for 3.
A big move, because the infield has to move in now. Now they're going to put the base on balls on Simmons. Evans being able to get Parrish over to third base has really forced Mock to make a couple moves.
So they'll walk Simmons. That'll bring up the right-hand hitting Larry Herndon with first and third, 1 out on the 8th. It is 7-2 Detroit. Kansas City hosting Texas. And Brett Saberhagen 15-5 due to go for Kansas City. And of course the Royals began the day 2.5 games back of the Angels, and if the Angels lose today, then the Angels in Kansas City will be even in the loss column. Herndon hit by a pitch, struck out and walked. 0 for 1. Lemon on deck. Two balls and no strikes. The count to Larry Herndon. Given the intentional walk, and he has come back 3-0.
Your pet peeve.
Simmons at first, Parrish at third. Okay, loaded him up. So the bases are loaded with one out, and Chet Lemon. And of course, the best strategy, the best laid plans of Mice and Men and Gene Mauch's Angels.
And what you have to worry about here, and I'm sure that's what Carew is telling him, is that, hey, you got to throw some strikes, but don't let up now. You start letting up right now, and you're going to be in deep trouble, because Lemon is not about to let a fat pitch get by.
Lemon hit into a fourth in the second inning, struck out in the fourth, and then unloaded. He hit it out over the 386 sign with 2 aboard in the 6th inning. His 8th home run of the year, batting .260. Ball 1. Parrish at third, Simmons at second, Herndon at first, and Sanchez on the rack. He's missed now on 9 consecutive pitches. Line drive down the left field line. That'll tear it. In comes Parrish. In comes Simmons. Herndon stops at third on a double by Lemon. 9-2 Detroit. And a 5 RBI day for Chet Lemon.
It's an oversimplification, but after Parrish doubles, Evans becomes a key man, because if he is going to make an out, he's got to pick up the base, which is what he does. Puts Parrish on third. They started to play the infield in, and it forced Mauch to make a move. The intentional base on balls, and then the walk, and here it is.
Infield is in, and there's a shot inside third. Herndon scores. Lemon scores. It's 11-2 Detroit on a double by Brookins. And it will thin out the traffic in Anaheim.
And I'll bet you Sparky's down there saying, come on now, don't let up. You know what happened last night.
So Lou Whitaker, the 7th man to come to the plate, 11-2 Detroit. And that's on the corner. Whitaker, home run, hit into a force play, walk, grounded out.
We got that fire sale going again, Vin.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike. A lot of people heading for home. 11 runs, 10 hits. Detroit with 4 home runs and 3 doubles. 1 and 2.
And it was after the base on balls. Lemon hit the first strike that was thrown by Sanchez, and Brookins hit the first strike. So in order to get ahead of hitters, he might have just laid it in, and they jumped on it.
High foul off third. Howell coming to the dugout. Can't get it. It's been Detroit all the way. They led 3-0, 3-2, 4-2, 7-2, and now 11-2. Two and 2.
takes care of Whitaker, but it's a lot too late. And the batter, the shortstop, Alan Trammell. Trammell robbed of 2 hits. Hit the ball hard enough in the first and again in the second, then grounded into a double play, and last time applied to right. So Allen 0 for 4. Trying to pick up Tommy Brookins at second base. When the Angels bat in the bottom of the 8th, Pettis, Carew, and Downing. One ball, one strike. Show you what kind of an attack, overall attack, Detroit has had. Only Trammell and Brookins have failed to score a run, and Brookins is out there at second base. Hot one inside third, and that will bring Brookins home. And on his way to second is Trammell with a double. And it is 12-2 Detroit. And Sanchez, coming back from a victory last night, is not the answer today. Detroit.
And then, according to my score sheet, and it's kind of messed up, 9 of the 11 base hits have been for extra bases. You could hit a... Is that pretty accurate?
I have 8.
8?
Yeah.
Even 8.
You mean for Detroit, yeah. And then...
Yeah.
So it'd be 9 if you wanted to count the home run by the Angels.
No, I'm talking about 8 for Detroit, yeah. Because I'm sitting here saying you could hit a single and stop this route.
Oh, yeah, they throw it back. Like fishing. Here, we don't want it. Busted bat to the hole, through, and this means they're all going to score. So Trammell comes home on a broken bat single by Gibson. And every Tiger has come home. It is 13-2 Detroit. Well, if it were a fight, they'd stop it on eye cuts. Watch Gibson's bat break, and it still means a base hit.
That's when you're having a good year.
So Lance Parrish, who started the inning with a double, comes up again. And Gene Mork going out to the mound.
It tells you something about him. He knew he was going to get some heat to make the change with McCaskill. He sent Latchman out, but now with the boat is sinking, he's going out there.
He's taken a little heat before.
Yes, he has.
A 6-run 8th inning for Detroit, 13-2. And Lance Parrish with 2 home runs and a double at the plate. What a birthday party for Luis Sanchez. The Tigers are eating his cake.
And I think the manager just went out and said, hey, we need some help. We need some people who need to get some rest. Stay out here, please, and take a beating for me.
Doubles and a single in the inning. And it is 13-2 Detroit. A blowout. Sparky's got to know he can hold on to this one.
He's got to know it. I just wonder if he feels it. Watching Howell guard the line, that'd be like using a sponge to clean up the Johnstown flood.
Yeah, guarding the line. Guarding the line. Well, that's right.
It's only 13-2. Two and two the count. It would be bad form to do otherwise.
That's right. It would not be according to the book.
Right. Little pop fly. And look at here. Grich fighting the sun, but there's the third out. 6 runs in the 8th at the end of 7.5. Detroit 13 and the Angels 2. Pettis, Carew, and Downing coming up, maybe. Detroit just about dismantling Anaheim Stadium with 13 runs. The 6-run 8th inning breaking the game wide open. Now Jack Morris trying to throw strikes against Pettis, Carew, and Downing.
Now at right field, number 32, Alex Sanchez. Now at second base, number 20, Flynn.
Some changes for Detroit. Dave Bergman is at first base for Darrell Evans. Doug Flynn is at second base for Lou Whitaker. Sanchez in right field for Gibson. And Marty Castillo now is at third base for Brookins.
Now that's how the game has changed. You're trailing by 11 runs. You're the leadoff man. First pitch, swing.
And second pitch swing and a ground ball and the out. Check that shortstop. Yeah, that's Brookins. So Brookins moves over to short. So we have a new infield. Bergman, Flynn, Brookins, and Castillo. Sanchez in right, Lemon and Herndon. Parrish going all the way behind the plate. And here's Carew. Carew, a 2-run home run, 2 ground balls. Line to left field, and Herndon flags it. 2 down in the 8th. And Brian Downing will be coming up. Downing fouled out, struck out, grounded out. So Morris trying to just throw the ball over the middle of the plate to Lance Parrish, and the Angels not about to take. Pettis swung at 2 and grounded out. Carew hit the first pitch and flied out. Let's see what Downing does. Ball 1. Just about had to take that one anyway.
Yeah, but he was taken all the way. You can see the way he was standing there. He's a gamer. This guy, he's a gamer.
Two and 0. Jack Morris, who was wobbly in the first 2 innings, has settled down since. He faced the minimum number of hitters in the 3rd, 4th, 6th innings. Now back. 2 and 1. Detroit 13, California 2, and a drive to left field, hooking, and will go foul. Balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Pop foul upstairs. Boy, there's a tough one. Minnesota beating Boston 1-0. The probables was Smithson and Hurst in that game. Another foul behind the plate. Parrish coming back. No play.
I looked in the paper. I didn't see it. Maybe you did. Did Oil Can Boyd ever join the club? He challenged Jim Rice, and then he was missing for a while.
Anyone who would challenge Jim Rice was probably missing for observation. I would think. 2-2.
Why would you want to fight an oak tree?
Yeah. Popped it up. It'll be the shortstop, Tommy Brookins. Okay, we're out in order in the 8th, and at the end of 8, Detroit 13, California 2. We have reached the 9th inning, and it has been all Detroit, 13-2. Dave Bergman, followed by Nelson Simmons, and then Larry Herndon. And Luis Sanchez trying to get the last 3 outs. Bergman finishing up for Darrell Evans. Evans had 1 hit in 4 trips. Ball 1. Sanchez got himself into a mess of trouble. After Parrish opened up the 8th inning with a double, Lewis couldn't find home plate. It all started after the intentional walk. Then he walked Herndon, then fell behind to Lemon, and then it was doubles by Lemon, Brookins, Trammell, a single by Gibson, and the 8th inning went out the window. 6-run 8th and a 13-2 Detroit lead. That's hit to left. Hustling is Brian Downing. He's there. 1 away. Nelson Simmons flied to left, flied to right, flied to center, and then was walked intentionally. The Angels weren't really in this game, except if you go back to the 2nd inning. It was 3-2 Detroit, and the Angels had Jack Howell at second base with 1 out. He was the tying run. That was the last look they had at the game. Parrish homered to make it 4-2. Lemon hit the 3-run home run in the 6th, and it was all over. 0-1. The count. Foul back. So Nelson's still there, looking for his first hit. Larry Herndon waiting his turn on deck. There's Larry. He's had 2 walks and been hit by a pitch, so he's only had 1 at bat. He's 0 for 1. And a welcome to all you folks who saw a pitcher's battle. You were watching Minnesota shade Boston 1-0. Look at this. 13-2 Detroit. So you're seeing both sides of the coin. The Tigers have had 4 home runs by Whitaker, Lemon, 2 by Parrish. Lemons with 2 men aboard. They've also had 4 doubles. The Angels have had 1 extra base hit, a home run by Rod Carew. So it is 13-2 Tigers in the 9th. Little nubber foul. Another foul out of play. Reggie Jackson can look at those glasses, but they're not rose-colored. Not today. But there's always tomorrow. High pop foul off first base. Carew coming over to take a look, but no room.
Get the feeling this is the Nelson Simmons hour.
You must really get so tired pitching to the same hitter after a while.
Catching.
Or catching too, yeah.
Oh,
no matter what you call.
You finally say to the guy, will you do something? Get me out of this misery?
And in this kind of a game, that's the worst possible in the heat. 2-2. So, 2 down. Larry Herndon, 0 for 1. You would not think that bench had had such a day, that they're leading 13-2. One reason, they know what it's like to be on top. And they're realistic enough to know they began the day 10.5 games back. And it's still pretty hard to forget last night. A drive to right. Rupert Jones is there, and the top of the 9th is in the books. And at the end of 8.5, 13-2 Detroit. With Detroit leading in a cakewalk 13-2, Sparky Anderson decides it's a perfect spot to take a look at a young left-handed Chuck Carey, who was just called up. He appeared very briefly against Oakland, struck out 2 and got a save. Now to give him a 9th inning to work. Jack Morris, a strong 8 innings and allowed just 2 runs. Morris 2 runs and 4 hits. The 2 runs were in the first inning on a walk to Pettis and a home run by Rod Carew. So now Chuck Carey. Carey will be pitching to Rupert Jones, Reggie Jackson, and Bobby Grich. So Carey and Parrish, Bergman, Flynn, Brookins, and Castillo in the infield. Herndon, Lemon, and Sanchez in the outfield. Rupert twice flied to right and grounded out, so he's 0 for 3. Foul back. 0-1. Ground ball to shortstop. That's Tommy Brookins to get him 1 away. By the way, this week's NBC Light Beer from Miller Player of the Game, the honor would go to Lance Parrish. And Light Beer from Miller happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Lance Parrish to help fight multiple sclerosis. Lance hit a 2-run home run in the first inning, hit a home run in the third, and ignited the 6-run 8th with a double. 3 RBIs, and he went all the way behind the plate. The Angels down so much, there's been a lot of first ball swinging since the 8th inning when Detroit scored the 6th. Each hitter has gone up there and swung at the first pitch except Brian Downing. One and one, the count to Reggie. Bobby Grich on deck. One and two. Been a tough day for Reggie. He's been unable to hit the ball out of the infield. He grounded to first and twice grounded to second. High pop foul off third. Castillo is over there. Might have a play. The ball will not come back. So the count stays 1 and 2. Angels, of course, they have given it their best shot for the day, and now they know it'll be in the hands of the Texas Rangers playing Kansas City tonight. And that takes care of Reggie. The probable pitchers, as you see that note about Reggie: Bert Hooton for Texas and Brett Saberhagen for Kansas City. Toronto at Chicago, Steve and Seaver. And the Yankees at Seattle, Bystrom and Langston. The Dodgers at Montreal, Honeycutt at Smith. San Diego at New York, Dravecki and Darling. St. Louis, Atlanta, Forsch and Barker. Those are the probables. So 2 out, 9th inning, 13-2 in favor of Detroit. Anderson trying to forget last night while enjoying the fruits of this one. A drive to right center and caught as Chet Lemon grabs it. This one is history. 13 runs, 12 hits, and no errors for Detroit. 2 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for California. The winning pitcher, Jack Morris, Chuck Carey finished up for him. And it was McCaskill and Sanchez. McCaskill the loser. He's now 9-8. Morris, by the way, is 14-7. And we'll be back right after this.